What is peace? We think of it as treaties signed, hands shaken, wars ended. But what if peace could be cooked? What if the right combination of flavors could soften the hardest heart, dissolve the oldest grudge, make enemies weep at the same table? This is the story of a cook whose hands held the secret to ending a century of bloodshed, whose spice blend became legend. But every recipe has ingredients, and some ingredients are not meant to be found in any market. Zahra was not born a great cook. She became one through desperation. Orphaned young, she was taken in by an old woman named Panya, who ran a tiny food stall in the market of Nafasi, a town caught between two warring tribes, the Kulu and the Sawa. For 100 years, these tribes had fought. Over land, over water, over insults delivered generations ago, their origins forgotten but their hatred fresh as yesterday. Panya taught Zahra everything she knew. How to grind spices just so. How to layer flavors. How to listen to a pot, really listen, until it told you what it needed. But Panya also taught her something else. The old woman had a secret. A spice blend she would only make on the most important occasions, and even then, she would lock herself in her hut, allowing no one to watch. When Panya died, she left Zahra a small leather pouch. Inside was a single seed, black as night, and a note: plant this where the two rivers meet. What grows will end the feud. But be careful what you harvest. Zahra, young and ambitious, did as instructed. She planted the seed at the confluence of the two rivers that marked the boundary between Kulu and Sawa lands. Within a month, a plant had grown, unlike any she had ever seen. Its leaves were silver. Its flowers were red as blood. And its seeds, when dried and ground, gave off an aroma that made her head swim with memories she did not own. She harvested carefully, following Panya's hidden notes. And she began to cook. Zahra's cooking changed everything. The first person to taste her new dish was a Kulu warrior named Haruki, wounded in a skirmish and left for dead near her stall. She fed him a simple stew, seasoned with a pinch of her secret blend. He ate. He wept. He spoke of his childhood, of the Sawa friend he had played with before the hatred took root, of the life he might have lived. Word spread. Kulu and Sawa alike came to her stall. They ate. They remembered. They softened. The tribal elders took notice. A Kulu elder, Chosaku, and a Sawa elder, Baraka, both came to Zahra separately, demanding to know her secret. She refused to tell. The food speaks for itself, she said. Let it do its work. And it did. For the first time in a century, Kulu and Sawa sat at the same tables, ate the same food, shared the same space. The market of Nafasi became neutral ground. Traders crossed boundaries that had been death traps. Children played together. The chiefs of both tribes, weary of war, agreed to a meeting. They would come to Nafasi, sit together, and eat a meal prepared by Zahra. If they could share bread, they could share peace. Zahra prepared for days. She ground her secret spice with trembling hands. She cooked pots big enough to feed an army. And on the appointed evening, the two chiefs sat across from each other, surrounded by their warriors, and lifted their spoons. They ate. They wept. They embraced. The feud was over. Zahra became a legend. Songs were sung about her. Gifts poured in from both tribes. She was offered wealth, land, marriage to princes. She refused it all, staying in her small stall, cooking for anyone who came. But she could not stop thinking about Panya's warning: be careful what you harvest. The plant at the river's confluence had not stopped growing. It spread along the banks, its silver leaves and blood-red flowers multiplying. Zahra harvested more each season, using the seeds in her cooking. But the plants seemed to be watching her. waiting. One night, a Kulu woman named Michelle came to her, desperate. Her son was dying of a fever no healer could cure. She begged Zahra for anything that might help. Zahra, moved by pity, added an extra pinch of her secret spice to a bowl of broth and fed it to the boy. He recovered within hours. But that night, he woke screaming. He had dreamed of a woman in white, standing at the river's confluence, beckoning him to come. The dream repeated every night for a week. Michelle returned to Zahra, terrified. "What have you given my son?" "The spirit in his dreams, she says she is waiting. She says the debt is not paid." Zahra's blood ran cold. She went to the river that night, alone, and saw her. A woman in white, standing among the silver-leaved plants, her eyes ancient and hungry. "You harvest my children," the spirit said. "You use them to heal, to soften, to bring peace. But nothing is free, cook. Every seed you take, every life you touch, creates a debt. And debts must be paid." Zahra fell to her knees. "Who are you?" "I am the one Panya made her bargain with. I gave her the seed. She gave me her service. Now she is gone, and you have inherited her debt. The plant is my flesh, cook. You have been feeding my flesh to your people. And now they belong to me." Zahra returned to the village in a daze. She tried to stop using the spice, but the plant had other ideas. Its seeds appeared in her kitchen overnight. Its leaves blew through her windows. The spirit was not done with her. The first to be taken was an old Sawa man named Taka. He had been one of the first to taste Zahra's peace stew. One morning, he simply walked into the river and did not come out. His body was found downstream, a peaceful smile on his face, his eyes open and staring at something no one else could see. Then a Kulu child. Then a Sawa woman. Then more. They all walked to the river. They all entered the water. They all smiled. The village panicked. The fragile peace shattered into accusations. The Kulu blamed the Sawa. The Sawa blamed the Kulu. And both blamed Zahra. She stood before the assembled elders, weeping. "It is my fault. The spice, it came from a spirit. The spirit wants payment. It wants them." Chosaku, the Kulu elder, grabbed her arm. "Then give it what it wants. Give it yourself." Zahra nodded. She had already decided. That night, she went to the river alone. The spirit waited, her white form glowing in the moonlight. "You have come to pay," the spirit said. "Good. But your life is not enough. You have fed my flesh to hundreds. Hundreds now belong to me. One life cannot cover that debt." Zahra's heart clenched. "Then what do you want?" "A keeper. Someone to tend my children, to harvest my seeds, to ensure the debt continues. Not for a lifetime, forever. You will become like Panya. You will serve me until the end of time, and your body will remain here, at the river's confluence, a living shrine to my hunger." Zahra looked at the village behind her, at the people she had brought together, at the children playing in the streets, at the peace that had cost so much. "I will do it," she said. "But you must release the others. All of them. The ones who walked into your river, let them go. Let them live." The spirit smiled, a terrible, beautiful smile. "Agreed." The next morning, those who had walked into the river returned. They emerged from the water, confused, alive, their smiles replaced by bewildered gratitude. The village rejoiced, but their joy was short-lived when they realized Zahra was gone. They found her at the river's confluence, standing among the silver-leaved plants, her eyes open but unseeing, her body still breathing but her spirit elsewhere. The plants had grown around her, twining up her legs, her arms, her chest, holding her in place. She was the keeper now. The spirit's living shrine. Michelle, the mother whose son had first dreamed of the white woman, approached her. Zahra? Can you hear me? Zahra's lips moved. A voice came out, not entirely hers, layered with something ancient and vast. She hears. She stays. The debt is paid. The peace endures. But the plant must be tended. The harvest must continue. And one day, another will come to take her place. Michelle fell back, horrified. The villagers understood. The peace they enjoyed was built on a sacrifice, not just Zahra's freedom, but an eternal cycle. The spirit would always need a keeper. And when Zahra's body finally failed, another would be chosen. The plant still grows at the river's confluence. Its silver leaves and blood-red flowers are harvested by a woman who stands motionless among them, her eyes open, her breath slow, her spirit bound to something older than memory. And sometimes, late at night, when the wind blows from the river, those who pass by swear they can smell it, an aroma that makes them weep with longing, that fills them with memories they never lived, that calls to something deep and hungry in their souls. The spice is still out there. The recipe is still known. But only one person knows all its ingredients. And she is not telling. Years passed. The peace held. Kulu and Sawa became one people, their children intermarrying, their histories intertwining. The market of Nafasi grew into a city. And at its edge, where the two rivers met, a garden of silver-leaved plants flourished, tended by a woman who never moved. Travelers came from distant lands to see her. Some left offerings. Some prayed. Some tried to harvest the plants themselves, but those who did were never seen again. The spirit protected her own. Michelle's son, now a man named Duma, became the unofficial guardian of Zahra's story. He would sit by the river and speak to her, telling her of the world, of the peace she had bought, of the children born free of the old hatreds. He liked to believe she could hear him. One evening, as the sun set behind the confluence, he saw her eyes move. Just slightly. Just enough to meet his. Her lips parted. A whisper escaped, thin as wind through leaves. Thank you. Then she was still again. Duma wept. He knew then that some part of Zahra still lived within that bound body, still aware, still grateful. He made a vow, he would tell her story forever. He would ensure that no one forgot the cook who ended a war by becoming a prisoner. The garden still grows. The spirit still waits. And somewhere in the market of Nafasi, a small cooking stall stands empty, its pots cold, its fire long dead. But the aroma lingers. On certain nights, when the wind is right, you can still smell it. Peace, cooked into a single, perfect dish. A dish that cost one woman everything. Zahra gave everything for peace. Not just her life, her freedom, her future, her very self. Her story teaches us that some gifts come with strings attached, that every miracle has a mortgage, and that the things that bring us together may be held in place by someone's eternal sacrifice. We enjoy the peace. We forget the price. But the one who paid it never forgets. She stands at the river, watching, waiting, hoping that someone, somewhere, will remember to say thank you. But what do you think? Was Zahra's sacrifice worth the peace it bought? Could she have refused the spirit's bargain, and what would have happened to the village if she had? And what would you do if the thing that united your people required you to become its eternal prisoner? Let me know in the comments below. The garden still grows at the river's confluence. The keeper still stands. And in other lands, other cooks discover other secrets, unaware of the debts they are about to inherit. If tales of sacrifice and supernatural bargains haunt you, you cannot miss a child's game of Solo solved a riddle left by the ancestors. The link is on the screen right now. Don't forget to subscribe for more original, Chilling tales from the Safari of Tales. We taste every flavor, even the bitter ones. Until next time, be careful what you cook. You might become the main ingredient.